Today, we've got questions on black tie dinners, the Mexican Revolution, and Charles answers what is the actual story behind the real Illuminati. Welcome to another episode of Off the Menu. I'm your host, Vincent Franchini from Tumblr House, here with an all-inclusive Charles Coulombe.
All-inclusive?
Yes.
All-inclusive.
All-inclusive, yeah. You don't like being thought of as all-inclusive? Or inclusive?
Well, am I diverse?
Sure, you know what? Let's go with that. Yeah, you're diverse.
Am I equitable?
Sometimes.
So I'm diverse, I'm inclusive, and I'm equitable. Die.
Die, yes.
That's what that stands for. Die. All right, fine. If it's good enough for all the major institutions in our country to show how stupid they are, it's good enough for me.
Good.
You know why?
Why?
Because it's my party, and I'll cry if I want to. I'll cry if I want to. Cry if I want to. You know what? You would too if it happened to you.
If what happened to me? Oh, yeah.
If you saw Leslie Gore with some guy's ring.
Well, I'm not interested in Leslie Gore. She's too old for me.
She's dead.
Yeah, exactly.
What about Julie Summers?
Joni Summers.
Joni Summers, yeah.
She's attractive, but she's also too old for me.
Is 83 too old for you?
Yes, and also I'm taken.
So you're married and she's too old for you, is what you're saying. But you know, she needs a brave man. She needs a caveman.
Well, I mean, did she get one? I don't know. I feel like her story has played out.
Well, she got married at 62. So I guess Johnny did get angry. Johnny did get mad. He gave her the biggest lecture she'd ever had.
Did she write that song before or after she was married? That would be interesting, right? Because that's like...
It would be. I don't know. See, these questions, ladies and gentlemen, of my far-off childhood are things that agitate us even today. Do you know that right now, I guarantee you, the President of the United States is thinking about stuff like this?
Is he? Is he thinking?
Well, yeah, because, you know, short-term memory goes.
Oh.
So stuff that's like 60 years ago is probably more real for him now than, you know, being trotted out last week.
Gosh, that's a shame we haven't heard more of that from him. That would have been cool.
It's his election, and he'll cry if he wants to. Cry if he wants to, cry if he wants to. You would cry too if it happened to you.
I definitely would if it was my election.
Kamala smiles so mean. When he's supposed to be. It's my party, meaning the Democrats.
That's true.
A version of that sung by President Biden. It's my party and I'll cry if I want to, cry if I want to, cry if I want to. You would cry too if it happened to you. Oh, I'm the nominee. It would take me a while to think about this, ladies and gentlemen, but you know, I'm the nominee. Why are the party bosses with her when I'm supposed to be the one? And Kamala smiles so mean. Oh, it's my party. Oh, what a birthday surprise. Let me tell you something. Leslie Gore, you checked out too soon. You really need it. Oh gosh, I feel better now.
That's wonderful.
And now it's Kamala's turn to cry. Kamala's turn to cry. Kamala's turn to cry, because Biden's come back.
Is Kamala married?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Oh, is she? Okay.
Yeah, to Mr. Harris.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Well, she is married to a person.
Okay.
And if she is the next president of the United States, he will become the first gentleman.
Is that what? That's the title?
No, I mean, we never had one before, but yeah, because the wife of the president is the first lady. So if she has a husband, it'll be the first gentleman.
What they call was Margaret Thatcher married?
Yeah.
What was the guy's title?
Mr. Thatcher.
Mr. Thatcher. Okay.
And he was in a very anomalous position for the same reason.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he was considered very funny and witty and so on.
Okay. Okay. So, approaching the tail end of summer. Where are we at? What's new, Charles?
The tail end of summer. Oh, gosh. Like the last rose of summer. Well, several things. Last week, of course, we went through the Assumption. Somebody, was busy last weekend. I didn't want to.
Oh, no. Okay. Get it in there, Charles.
No,
Get it in there.
It's all right.
Yeah.
I got over it. At the last minute, ladies and gentlemen, I was told you're not needed this weekend. Just the terse little line. You're not needed. I said, okay, I guess I'm not. I don't want you to think that the employees around here are, let's just say at Tumbler House Tower, you're much less than a number to us. But no, it's all right. I understood. You had more important people to deal with. No, it's fine, really. I'm better now.
That's good, Charles. I'm so happy you got over it.
I'm making progress.
Okay.
I'm being mainstreamed. No, no, seriously though. So we have the Feast of the Assumption. Interestingly enough, tomorrow, the 18th, when people are actually going to be watching the show, they better be very careful.
What's the 18th?
The 18th. The Festival of the Hungry Ghosts.
Huh.
Chinese festival. In Japan, they call it Obon. Throughout East Asia and Southeast Asia is Buddhist festival of dead. They leave out offerings of food and they have performances for the dead. The front row is left empty. So, you'll be very careful tomorrow. That's a tribute to the dwarf who will not be starring in the remake of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Is that a thing? What? I don't understand.
Well, Disney was going to remake it, and they had already hired this dwarf actor, but he felt it was a terrible thing. The whole dwarf notion. So they said, you're right, now he and every dwarf was going to be in the pictures out of a job.
Okay. Yeah.
Now we live in sensitivity land.
Yeah.
So, anyhow, beyond that, August 22nd is in the traditional calendar, the Feast of the Immaculate Heart of Mary, and in the traditional calendar, Feast of the Immaculate Heart of Mary. In the new calendar, it's the Feast of the Queenship of Mary. So that's August 22nd, which is also the octave day of the Assumption. And then, you know what's going to happen?
What?
In 2 weeks' time, September.
Yes.
And you know what that means? Although it'll be the hottest month of the year usually in Southern California, in the real world, it is autumn. The autumn leaves fall by my window. And you know what else?
What?
It means that the already present advertisements for Halloween in the stores here are going to explode in a vast cornucopia of orange and black.
Ain't that the truth?
And that's not all. That's not all. You know what else?
What?
The first Christmas stuff will begin to appear toward the end of September.
That's true.
And in some stores, by mid-October, you'll be like in the Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah.
Are you looking forward to that?
It'll be great, you know. Let's get the seasons here, you know. I'm on low ebb right now. I need the seasons to
You need a little Christmas right this very minute.
yeah, exactly.
The candles in the window, carols at the spinet.
What you didn't say one important thing, which is when is pumpkin spice latte season? Totally.
September 1st.
That's right.
So you all, in fact, you know, it's the first time I will have been present for its opening in many years.
Wow, that's actually true. Yeah, you haven't been here in the autumn.
Not for quite a while.
Yeah, not for quite a while. I mean,
so heavens to Betsy, ladies and gentlemen. I got to get me some of that there pumpkin spice before I stagger out the door and go back to the fatherland. And then the Studio M will be allowed to lapse into decay again. It's so sad.
All right. Yeah, well, we had to occupy this one for now. The other studios were taken.
Well,
studios A through N were all taken. Or, excuse me, A through
L.
No,
A through L were taken. That's really sad.
Yeah.
All of them. But right now, despite the fact that 3/4 of the staff are in cocoons, nevertheless, production is at full rate. Chief Clancy is doing some training films over at Studio D.
Right.
I can tell that they're training films because of the sounds coming from the studio. I think they're right now or not now, but just before I came on, I passed by. I think that he's teaching the recruits how to use billy clubs.
Right.
From the sounds.
Yes. The swap.
Yeah, and the ah.
Yeah.
Now the downside is they'll have to whoever has to clean up. Poor old Rose. You know, all that red blood.
Yeah. Well, she's happy to do it.
And then go back into the cocoon.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a way to save money over summer, boss, I'll tell you.
Well, we really think outside the box at Tumblr House.
Yeah. Way outside the box. You can't even see the box from here. Oh, man. Anyway.
That's a level of innovation.
You know, it's the American way. Back in 67, 68, they had an ad for U.S. savings bonds. Now, bear in mind that 1918 was when we basically dictated a new peace for Europe and destroyed Austria-Hungary. This song that we sung for the ads for the bonds is kind of poignant in a sick way. Here it is. For 50 years through thick and thin, America's led the way, and we'll keep on leading and leading the American way. But there's one thing that you can do to help America stay strong. Just stay with American savings bonds and save the American way.
And it works.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Do you have savings bonds?
Well, I mean, wouldn't all the bonds have matured? I mean, isn't it like a 30-year bond or something?
Well, yeah, but that was 60 years ago.
Okay. So...
Okay. Well, so what? What do you say?
I don't, you know what? Forget it, Charles.
What do you
It's
say?
okay. I missed out on the bonds. I don't have any bonds. I'm sorry.
Any bonds today? Bonds of freedom, that's what we're selling. Any bonds today? Kick up whatever you can. Here comes the freedom man. What?
Here comes the freedom man?
Yeah. That's a World War II Bonds song.
Oh, okay.
You ever hear of the singer Gary Bonds?
No.
Well, who again, he lacks his boomer culture. But Gary's nickname was Gary U.S. Bonds. It's true. And his great claim to fame was a song that went, This diamond ring doesn't.
I know that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was Gary U.S. Bonds.
Oh.
Feel better now?
I do.
Do you feel a little more plugged into boomer culture this afternoon?
A little bit. A little bit.
A little bit closer
Yeah.
to, you know.
Helping me make those connections.
Yeah. Joni Summers, Leslie Gore,
Yeah.
you know. It's you know, I see the lights. I see the party lights. They're blue, they're red, and they're green. Oh,
Yeah.
mama dear, oh, tell me, can't you hear? I see the party lights. Everybody on this, everybody in the group is there, but you won't let me make the scene.
Don't know that one.
Claudine Clark, party lights. No?
Nope.
Locomotion?
Do the dance one? Yeah, I know that one.
You know the locomotion.
Yeah, do the locomotion with me. Yeah.
Mashed potato?
I can mash potato. Yeah, I know that one.
All right. Do you know, this is so important. In the still of the night?
Probably.
In the still of the night.
I'm not sure. I don't know.
One summer night. You're not into doo-wop.
I don't know. I know some doo-wop. Yeah.
Doo-wop.
Yeah.
Well, do you like doo-wop?
Yeah.
Does doo-wop make you feel whole? Do you find doo-wop healing?
Do I find doo-wop healing? I would say so, actually, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Support your friendly neighborhood doo-wop by singing on the corner. For whatever they can get.
Friendly neighborhood doo-wop. Okay.
Yeah, friendly neighborhood doo-wop.
All right. Are you ready?
You know who else was friendly neighborhood?
Who?
Spider-Man, Spider-Man does whatever a spider can.
Have you seen all the Spider-Mans?
No. I saw the first three and then I kind of gave up.
Okay.
The Dark Knight.
Okay, we're moving on. Nothing to see here. We're moving on.
Wasn't that Spider-Man?
How come everyone's so brutal on me not knowing boomer culture, but then you can say something like that and it's crickets in the comments? Like, yeah, Dark Knight, wasn't he one of the Spider-Man?
Was that a Spider-Man film?
Yeah.
No, Batman fights the Green Goblin. Isn't that what happens in the Dark Knight? The Green Goblin fights Batman?
No, it's not. That's not what happens.
No.
I don't believe this. I actually don't believe you at all. I think you're actually putting on a ruse because of the 60s Batman with Adam West was, I thought, hugely popular, and so you would know Batman.
I do know Batman.
So
all right, you're being teased. So
yeah,
what?
I know enough of boomer culture to know you should know Adam West's Batman.
Batman. Well, I do, and you know the great thing about Adam West's Batman,
Yeah.
was that the whole thing was like a comic book come to life.
Right.
It really was. I mean, the movies, they try to make it real.
Yeah.
The 60s Batman, no.
Yeah.
It was like the Green Hornet, which I also enjoyed. But I told you about meeting Julie Newmar, who played Catwoman.
Right. Yes.
She actually gave me the biggest thrill my inner 13-year-old ever got, because I met her at a Comic-Con about 15 years ago. Our friend Nicole dragged me to it. You know, and I had no great desire to go, but she did. And I saw a lot of once upon a time celebrities.
Yeah.
But they have the then surviving cast from Batman. So they had Adam West, Julie Newmar, the girl that played Batgirl, the guy that played Robin. And I asked some questions, which was pleasant. And then later, I go to the booth where Julie Newmar was signing things. Of course, this was Julie Newmar. And if you're a certain age, Julie Newmar was very likely your first crush. And it just the way it is. So I go up to her and she said, "That was a wonderful question you asked during the questions and answers." I said, "Thank you so much." And then I noticed that there was a bar, and I said, and I mentioned to her that I had to see that terrible film, To Wang Fu, Thanks for Everything, Julie Newmar.
Yeah.
You know, about transvestites going to California, which she wasn't really in except at the very end. And she just said, "Oh, I'm so sorry for you, darling. That was a terrible film." And I said, "Yes," and I had to review it. But then I noticed there was a bar. And I said, "Miss Newmar, there's a bar here. Could I get you a drink?" She said, "Oh, yes, darling, I'd love one." I said, "Well, what would you like?" And she said, "Oh, I don't know, rum with fruit juices." So I went off and I got her a Mai Tai. And I came back with the Mai Tai and I handed it to her and I said, "To Julie Newmar, thanks for everything, Charles Coulombe." And she goes, "You are an evil man." And my inner 13-year-old was squealing.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Ah!
Oh.
Because she was still Julie Newmar.
Yeah.
You meet some people, and you feel like saying that was the person who was Julie Newmar.
Right.
No.
Right.
Despite the antiquity, she was still very, very much Julie Newmar.
Yeah.
Let that be a lesson to you.
Yeah. I remember you said the same thing when you met Angela Lansbury.
Yes.
You thought you were gonna get killed.
Yeah, I did. She was Jessica Fletcher.
Yeah.
And it was an award ceremony, and I would talk with a group of people, and she was Jessica Fletcher. And I look at her, I wonder who gets it. I hope it's not me. Because I really had the weirdest feeling I had somehow broken through the fourth wall the wrong way. Not the way you're supposed to go. Well, like poor Dan Devine had. You remember that time?
Yeah.
He felt he'd fallen into the show.
Oh, right. Right, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Remember, ladies and gentlemen, if you find yourself falling through the fourth wall, that's not the way it's supposed to work. We can break the fourth wall. But like if this were a drama or a comedy or something, most of our interaction is with us. But then I turn or he turns and says, "Now, isn't that true, ladies and gentlemen?" That's called breaking the fourth wall. But if you suddenly find yourself on this side of the screen, that fourth wall done been smashed.
All right, let's do some questions.
Questions? Question?
Yes.
Questiones?
Yes.
Fragen?
Maybe.
Okay. I'm up for it.
Okay, John says, what is the actual story behind the real Illuminati? What are your thoughts on Ataturk? What are your thoughts on Garibaldi? In a previous episode, you said that what makes a country Western is how Christian they are. Does that mean to you Christians in Nigeria are more Western than an atheist Swede?
Those are all good questions.
Yeah.
First one first. The Illuminati run the entire world with an iron grip, and they live they're all living in a communal warehouse in Teaneck, New Jersey.
New Jersey? I don't know. I was willing to believe that, but New Jersey?
All
really?
right. You all right.
You lost me at New Jersey.
It's in Scranton, Pennsylvania. Is that better?
No, actually.
Akron, Ohio.
I feel like you have a template here.
Yeah, I do, actually. Well, see, the whole notion of all the affairs of the world being run out of some dump, and the people doing it having complete and total power, so they don't need stuff.
Yeah.
You see them eating McDonald's, and just the place is filled with trash. You know what? Why don't you raise the Hong Kong Stock Exchange 17 points? You know what'd be great? Would be a new scientific discovery right about now that'll revolutionize the nickel industry. Yeah, let's do that. And meanwhile, like, anybody got a cheeseburger? I'm hungry. that kind of vision dances in my head. But no, well, the Illuminati were, in actuality, not the group of people who run the place from a dump in Middle America. It was the period of the Enlightenment, the 18th century, to a degree, the very last years, the 17th, but particularly the mid to late 18th century, was a time when there were a number of groups claiming to have ancient secret wisdom. One of these, of course, were the Freemasons. The Rosicrucians were another. We dealt with both of those. But the third, which was really made up by an ex-Jesuit named Adam Weishaupt, was called the Illuminati. And they were supposedly, well, remember, it's the Enlightenment.
Yeah.
So they believed they had the ideas of the Enlightenment. They were the illumined ones, the Illuminati. They had, for a while, a number of very prominent members, but then the Elector of Bavaria kind of got worried about them, so he ordered them abolished. Weishaupt was reconciled to the church on his deathbed. But people have used the Illuminati mythos ever since, as this secret society that governs the world. Mitchell and Webb made fun of them as the Inebriati, which if the Inebriati are still going, I'll join. I don't mind. What's his name? Anton Wilson was a writer in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and he had a lot of fun with it in what was called the Illuminatus trilogy. And he came up with a gag, which I've used ever since.
Yeah.
You know that no two pictures of George Washington are the same. And the reason is that in those days, false teeth were not made to order. And so every time he got a new pair, it changed the look of his face. Now, why is this important? Well, because of it, no two paintings of Washington look alike. And that allowed one the freedom for this gag, which is, that the eye in the pyramid is on the back of the dollar bill. But then you say, it's not Washington on the front. What? What do you mean? It's really Adam Weishaupt. Compare that picture of Washington to any other, and you'll see they don't look at all alike. Dun, dun, dun. No, they don't, because of the false teeth. It changed his look every time he had his painting painted. His portrait.
False teeth can have that dramatic of an impact on an entire portrait?
Yeah.
But it would just be this area.
Or this. If you look at the picture on the bill, Benjamin, what it says is that you see his teeth are much more prominent than they are in any of his other portraits. And it makes it different enough to where you can make the claim, well, it was really Adam Weishaupt. And it shows that the Illuminati founded and own America.
Is that really a thing? I mean, is this really what people talk about?
Oh, it's what Anton Wilson wrote in Illuminatus, and I've used it ever since.
Wow.
Well, But anyway, so that's your Illuminati.
Okay. Well, a couple questions that were in there is thoughts on Garibaldi, Ataturk?
Ataturk, well, I'm not a great fan. What Ataturk did, for those who don't know, is when Greece was about to complete its conquest of the areas assigned to it by the Allies in Asia Minor, he rallied the Turks and pushed them out. He overthrew the Sultan, declared a republic, and then threw out the Christians, most of the Christians from Turkey, in exchange for populations with Greece. And then he tried to secularize along Western lines the whole country, which, they weren't Islamist, and to this day, his influence versus Islamism are the two big wings of Turkish politics. But all in all, I'm not a fan. Garibaldi, of course, was a Italian from a little Italian town called Nizza, which is today part of France, Nice.
Oh, right.
And in his youth, he became something of a professional revolutionary, fought in Latin America and so on. He worked with Cavour in the House of Savoy to take over the Kingdom of the Two Sicilies, and then the Papal States. So he was not on my top list of faves, but he got paid back by his hometown being given to the French in return for their support in the War of 1859. So which really annoyed him. Let me see.
Okay, and
Who's the
does yeah does that mean Christians in Nigeria are more Western than an atheist Swede? And this is um, what makes a country Western is how Christian they are.
no. In a very real sense, yes, because they're in tune with the spirit of the West in a way the atheist Swede is not. Being a Westerner is not simply a matter of DNA; it's a matter of religion and culture. And if you don't have that religion and or you don't have that culture, then you're not a Westerner.
Hmm. Okay. All right. Question from Tampa Tobacconist who says, "Dear Vinny and Sir Charles, help! As a counter-revolutionary act, I want to start hosting an annual uh, black tie dinner party for my friends. I don't know where, but I don't know where to start. Can you give me your advice, both about the philosophy of what I'm trying to do and about the mechanics of how to do it?"
Yes, I can. I sure can.
Please do so.
Ah. Well, first and foremost, the mechanics of putting on a black tie party, I would suggest to acquire or look them up online, the first editions of two etiquette books. One by a lady named Emily Post and the other by one named Amy Vanderbilt.
Who are those?
They were two etiquette chicks.
No, I'm joking because they were brand names back in the day, right?
They are brand names. But you can find their stuff on archive.org and look up the mechanics of a black tie dinner party. You know, the place settings, all that kind of thing. And obviously, you need to determine an event. What is the theme?
Yeah.
Is it a holiday? Is it a commemoration of something?
Yeah.
That's very important. The dress code, of course, is black tie, but today being today, you may need to help your guests. Otherwise, they'll end up in long ties and black on white shirts. We've seen that happen at various family parties at the residence when the cousins come from New York. And
but I really recommend Emily Post's book because you got that for me and my wife.
I sure did.
And we've referenced that with things where, in terms of responding to, like when to respond to a wedding invitation and all this and that, and just everything you can imagine. It's a great reference book.
Was it a good gift?
It was a good gift, Charles.
Are you glad I gave it to you guys?
I'm glad.
Let you be glad too. Or as Peter Barlow might say, only wear white if you're going to be auditioning to replace the man from Glad.
Is that what he said? Like what, like a full white suit or something? Wow.
It should be, he put out, it should be a little bluish, a little brownish, a little pinkish. I mean, not noticeably, but off.
Yeah, off color.
He says, otherwise, he said, you'll look like you're auditioning to replace the man from Glad.
Yeah.
I'd like to. I'd make some money that way, some real money, not the chicken feed that's doled out to me by man from Glad.
You take out what you put in, Charles. You take out what you put in. We like hustle here, okay? We like innovation.
Oh, do you now? Hence the cocoons. Don't you ever get a little weirded out by that? Don't you ever come in here maybe early in the morning or leave late at night and you see all those blobs hanging from the ceiling? Don't you think it's just a little whacked?
I mean, you get used to it. I mean, I call it home.
Okay, well, you heard it here first, folks. But at
haven't you seen them all? Didn't you like the movie Cocoon? You didn't like that movie? I thought that was a good movie.
It strikes too close to home now.
Does it? Why?
I'm old.
Oh, that's right. So you could use a little bit of that yourself. You could put a little pod in the pool and energize yourself.
I could. I could be like Don Amici. I'd end up Italian. He was Dutch when he went into the pool. He came out Italian. You didn't know that?
I didn't catch that one.
Well, no. So seriously, though, you really want to impress upon your guests the solemnity of the occasion, the reason why you're doing it black tie, and so on and so forth. But and then the other thing, of course, is that you want to know you want to be very careful about what you serve, because the whole point of a dinner is the food.
Right.
And I'll give you a bit of advice, Emily, post game, which is that if you're particularly good at something like fried chicken or your personal favorite aspect, serve what you're best with. And don't think that you're repeating yourself or anything like that, because, as, again, she says, if you're a chef, if you're a cook, meaning you in this case, are really tremendous at only one dish, don't be afraid to serve that dish every time you entertain. Because people will say, oh, we're going around to the so-and-sos. They've always got the best fried chicken. Remember, they don't dine with you every night.
I don't have a lot of advice. All I would say is don't serve aspic. All right. Especially for black tie, really? Everyone goes through all the trouble of doing a black tie party, and all you get is...
That's all you get, but as an hors d'oeuvre, sure.
Is that how it is?
Yeah.
As an hors d'oeuvre? Yeah.
Oh.
I thought it was a main course.
No.
The way you've shown me it, it looks like this giant...
No, they divvy it up. You get a slice.
The way you've told it historically, it's not like that. I don't believe you.
Who was alive then? You or me?
You just told me Elizabeth, our friend Elizabeth, does this stuff.
Yeah, she does.
In what context?
Entertaining, whenever she has people.
No, I mean like as dinner?
Yeah. We're alongside dinner.
Okay, wow, whatever.
Imagine aspic with whole boiled eggs floating.
You know, in fairness to aspic, it's like if you put a gun to my head and you have to say eat aspic or chow mein sandwich, I would do the aspic every day of the week and twice on Sunday.
And what about the chow mein sandwiches?
I would. You'd have to pull the trigger.
Ladies, those of you who are watching from Bristol County, Massachusetts, I have to apologize on behalf of my esteemed colleague. He had a little too much Ovaltine before we got started. He doesn't know what's going on. Anyway, don't worry about it.
All right.
What else we got?
All right. Anita, superfan Anita, says, greetings, gentlemen. Your beginning of August pre-show discussion of whether you have to be a monarchist to be a true conservative got me thinking about monarchism in England. Sign up, become a patron to see what she's talking about, ladies and gentlemen. All right. So she says, how safe is the monarchy in England as an institution? Have the English gone off small r republicanism with Cromwell, or is there a real danger that they might repeat this ghastly mistake? Pop culture portrayals of the English monarchy, like, say, The Crown, often have as a premise the idea that the monarchy is always just one scandal away from extinction. But is this really true? Or is it just propaganda designed to feed the idea that the monarchy owes its continued existence to the political class constantly cleaning up after it? Is there any grassroots support in England for a true executive monarchy? Thank you and God bless. P.S. I still say Popeyes beats KFC hands down.
Thank you, Anita. You know, some of us don't. Ahem. Well, that's a lot to unpack. The Republicans, how much of a threat do they pose? Well, so long as the monarchy is not a threat to the political class, it has nothing to worry about. In England, as in the United States and anywhere else it's called a democracy, the populace don't make decisions.
Yeah.
I mean that in a nice way. After all, you remember when they had the primary and brought in Kamala Harris here in California?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. That didn't happen. I forgot. Never mind.
Yeah.
No, I mean, more and more it becomes evident what a shell game democracy is. If the king opposed it, he'd be out of a job. It really is that simple. Um, and he's an old man now. Maybe his son or his grandson will try to unite the forces of goodness against the forces of evil, but that's not now. Um, the As far as cleaning up after messes, it's the political class's messes always need to be cleaned up after, and very often the royals do their part in helping clean them up for the sake of the common good. Uh, but
So it's one scandal away from extinction?
no.
Well, you kind of suggested that it's a type of scandal. If the king speaks out on certain things, it is.
Well, that wouldn't be a scandal. That would be provoking their lords and masters to destroy him.
I see.
No, I mean, the use of scandals really is as much blackmail to keep the royals in line as anything else.
Interesting.
So, they're remember that the political leadership, although they have two orifice, they're indistinguishable from each other.
Yeah. Understood.
Yeah. So, what they spew out of one mouth, they spew out of the other. And I mean, this latest thing with the new prime minister, Secure Scumbag or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
About suppressing freedom of speech. There should be a grassroots movement for an executive monarchy in England. There should be. But as in every other country, people are so bamboozled by the idea that the politicians are the voice of the people and that elections will really do something for you, which they will on a local level. But the national level, you're usually given a choice between Tweedledum and Tweedledummer. Yeah. And when Tweedledummer gets in, like Secure Schmuckbag, he'll smack you around. And I'm afraid there's nothing the king can do about it, because if he did, it would be anti-democratic. And he'd be, if the elected leadership, quote unquote, treats you like crap, you accept that because it's being done to you by the voice of the people. But if the king tries to do anything, we're this far from a tyranny. Got it?
Got it.
Yeah. I mean, what I'd love to see would be tanks around Whitehall and around Westminster, and the king saying, "Oh, I'm sorry, little ones. You must go home now. You're no longer needed. Bye-bye." But I'm afraid that's not going to happen. Or if it does, it'll mean there are a lot of other things happening.
Yeah.
Did you ever see that wonderful scene from the movie Charles III, where he dismisses Parliament?
Yes, you showed me it.
If only. If
Yeah.
only. And then just not call them back. Bye-bye. You get to go back home and do whatever it is you do free of charge. Well, no, you could retire on your graft.
Yeah.
Who needs an income when you've already piled up a ton of dough as a third-rate thief? I mean that in a nice way, ladies and gentlemen.
All right. Don from Florida says, what can Charles tell us about the life and impact of Italian monarchist Alfredo Covelli?
Well, that's an interesting question. Covelli was a young man at the end of World War II. I believe he was a war veteran. He died in, I think, the 80s sometime, the 90s, something like that. But basically, after the king was, Umberto II, was put out of power in what almost everybody admits today was a rigged election, a rigged plebiscite, Covelli became eventually the leader of the monarchist political party. They were a small party with 4 or 5 people in parliament, and they'd jump up and down.
Yeah.
Eventually, he led them into union with what was left of supposedly the fascist party, the MSI, the Italian Social Movement. And that was pretty much the end of the monarchist political party in Italy.
Yeah.
And it was probably a big tactical mistake. I mean, it was the king, after all, who'd gotten rid of Mussolini, and that was something that really has to be played up. You couldn't really play it up by merging with the MSI. But, he was loyal to his king and a good Italian. What more can you say?
All right, what can Charles tell us about Porfirio Diaz, his political life, impact on Mexico, and relationship with the Catholic Church?
Well, Porfirio Diaz was a former Zapotec Indian, if I remember, partly. And he was an associate of Benito Juarez, a lieutenant, who nevertheless overthrew his chief in 1876 and was president of Mexico from then until 1910. And that era is called the Porfiriato. He opened up Mexico to a lot of foreign investment. We had a lot of business come in, a railway network, and all that kind of thing. So in a lot of ways, Diaz was the modernizer of Mexico. Now, he was not Catholic, but he did give the church a sort of vacation from persecution. And did not restore any property to it. And then when he was overthrown in 1910, that was the beginning of 10 years of the Mexican Civil War.
Well, a persecution vacation is nice.
Yeah, I guess.
All right. Following up on this question, were there any good guys on either side of the Mexican Revolution of the 20th century? What role, if any, did the church play in the affair?
Well, Victoriano Huerta was the one who overthrew Madero, who was the one who overthrew Diaz. He was fairly decent, I guess, but we ran afoul of Woodrow Wilson, who sent troops to Veracruz, commemorated in Warren Zevon's classic song, Veracruz. I saw Woodrow Wilson's guns, I heard them in the harbor, and Veracruz was dying. Anyway, when the Americans pulled out of Veracruz, the country went into a complete tailspin. Now, they went into Veracruz to force Huerta to resign because that was the center of the country's economy, and that's what happened. So the thing collapsed into anarchy, and basically the church was the victim. And it was the attacks on the church that eventually led to the rise of the Cristero movement in the 1920s.
Okay. All right, final question. Don from Florida says, I've recently become intrigued by the Cretan School of Art. What can Charles tell us about the history of this school of art, and does he have a favorite work from this period?
Well, favorite work, not really. There's a lot to choose from. But basically, the Cretan School, after the fall of Constantinople, a lot of Byzantine artists fled to the island of Crete. And then from there, a lot of them, like Greco, went west. So they created an interesting style of icon painting. It's sort of an interesting mix of East and West, Eastern and Western technique. It's lovely, fascinating stuff, and I'm all for it. I wish I owned some. Maybe if I were given a bigger salary, I could afford to buy a Cretan school icon.
Yeah, maybe, if only. I'm not gonna give you a higher salary so you can buy a Cretan school icon. Is that what you're gonna do with your money?
Sure.
Yeah, Vinny. I really need more money so I can buy this Cretan school icon.
I do. I'd make another Peacock Donuts run.
Oh, well, there. Now we'll finance that.
Yeah. No, so the Cretan School is quite lovely and an interesting synthesis of East and West, and well worth exploring. And that was it.
Yeah.
That was our last question.
That was our last question.
That's all we got?
That's all we got. Yeah. We're just trying to scrape by on. This is like the hottest. It was like the hottest July on record.
It's really annoying.
Yeah, it's really, and apparently you're telling me it's going to get hotter in California. I don't know if we're going to make it, Charles. I don't know. We really need to fix the air conditioning on the Tumbler House Tower and these lower floors. I mean, the executives, it's fine.
It's
but
glacial.
It's glacial, but yeah, it's been a couple years since we've.
It's too bad the kitchen doesn't have any refrigeration.
Yeah, that too, right? It makes it challenging, and you have to really get creative.
Well,
but we have creative chefs.
Great. Yeah, I've seen what they can do with magic. However, it occurs to me there's a song we could sing.
What song?
M-I-C, cereal soon. K-E-Y. Why? Because we like you. M-O-U-S-E, Mickey Mouse, Mickey Mouse. Forever and forever, let's raise a banner high, 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 high. Who's the leader of the club that's made for you and me? M-I-C-K-E-Y, M-O-U-S-E, Mickey Rat.
Mickey Rat? How dare you? How dare you?
Well, tell me one thing.
Yeah.
Walt Disney, as a father figure to you.
As a father figure? Okay, go on.
That's my question.
Walt Disney as a father figure to you, question mark.
To you, question mark, not me.
He's not a father figure. He died pretty early on. So his brother was doing a lot of things, I feel like, during my own Disney heyday. So I didn't really sort of develop that close familiarity with Walt, unfortunately.
Wow. It's a pity.
Was he, I forgot that show you used to reference, The Wonderful World of Disney?
Yeah.
Was he on that more prominently? Was he?
Oh, yeah. He introduced every program.
See, I didn't have that. I would have liked that.
Well, you know what? Afterwards, I'll show you. I'll show you a couple offline.
Yeah.
I mean, online.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, I have a question for Mr. Vincenzo.
What is it?
If you're not in the Pine Barrens and it's Monday, what is it?
It's off the menu.
And so you say?
May be your own.
See you next week, gang.
See ya.